Hey, welcome to episode 3 of the Volkswagen Bus Restoration. Today I'll be working on this panel, doing the metal work where I left off. Episode 2, I showed how I removed the paint and Bondo and a little bit of rust, surface rust in 3 different areas. So there's a lot going on with this panel as far as this corner was smashed in, and then this is kind of in maybe about half an inch. There's about 56 holes that were drilled when they put the Bondo on. I'll have to weld those up. There's some rust down here. I'll cut that out, make a new patch panel for that. And this seam here, this flange, this is missing a little bit of a piece there, and it's broke, so I'll weld that and make a new flange. All right, well, let's get after it. All right, so it's caved in pretty good right here and crunched pretty good here in the seam. The flange is dented pretty good. I'm gonna start out with pulling this flange out. See if I get the camera in there. So I can get right on that corner, squeeze it, pull it right back. These are really strong pliers. It makes this very easy. Right now, I'm gonna move this out of the way. I can bend it back when I'm done. So you could, now that I straighten this out, you can see this, it's kicked out here and then it goes in. Let's see if you can see it from this side. divot right there. See if I can get that out. There. All right, so I noticed some of the metal got stretched when it got crunched and it kind of creased it. So I'm going to hit it with the shrinking disc, and that's going to shrink this down. And I'll use the marker to kind of see where the highs and lows are. And then we can go back to a little bit more hammering and dollying. All right, that see that steam, and then where the marker's worn away, that was a high, and it shrunk it down. When you see that steam, it's shrinking down, and you can really see where the highs were and the lows. And that's Pro Shaper's shrinking disc. He makes these, and he sells them on his site. So definitely go check that out. They work fantastic. And again, that's where I learned to use this, was in his class. If you're into automotive restoration or coach building, definitely take his class. That's where I learned to use these tools. It will excel you. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's been doing his whole life, and you will learn a ton and meet some really cool people. So definitely check that out. Check out his channel, Rachel Pro Shaper. And I'm just going to show you me using it. If you want to learn how to use it, go watch his stuff. But see how it shrunk that down? This is looking really good. I'm gonna hit it a little bit more. It's difficult because that wheel well flange is right here and it's kind of in my way. So I'm gonna have to kind of move it a little bit to work it, but make it work. Just give me enough access. So right here is where the low is. This area right here is low, and I want to kind of pop it out a little bit, but I don't really want to just hit it with a hammer and dolly. I'm going to use a wood slapper. so these are some of my hammers and dollies I'm using. And you want to polish them. You want to keep them as clean and polished as you can. And that's going to reflect on your surface quality when you're hammering and dollying. It's just going to turn out better. The nicer the finish on your tools, the nicer the finish is going to be on your panel. So you want all of these polished, cleaned up. These were bought. I bought these. I think it was swap meets, and I think this one was eBay. This one I actually carved out. I learned this one in Ray's class also. That one started out as a piece of tool steel like this, just a block. Cut it off a section of this, and then ground it, cut it and ground it for hours. And this is like the soap bar. It's extremely useful. Probably the best one I have, and it was handmade. Same thing with this slapper. That's just from a leaf spring of a car. And with these two, you can take out almost any dent. It's just fantastic how well these work. Very, very basic, but that's the technique, and that's what works. So yeah, just you can carve your own out, different shapes. This is a pretty dull chisel, and that's going to fit in there in that body line, that very corner. And I can get that out a little bit. The crease is gone, still a little bit wavy, but I'm just going to keep hammering and dollying it and using the shrinking disc. But if you look from this angle here, you can see a lot of that caved in is gone, and the crease is gone. So it's a slow process. The flange is straightened out. The wheel well arch is kind of fighting me. You can see where that is, and it's kind of difficult to get in there. it's gonna need work too. So I may end up removing that, and in the process of doing that, then I can really get to this area. So I'll do a little more hammer and dollying, and I think we're gonna move on to cleaning these holes out and start welding those. All right, I'm just gonna wipe it down with some lacquer thinner. I hit it with the shrinking disc a couple more times and a little bit more hammering and dollying. So let's wipe the marker off and take a look at it. The crease is gone. That was right here. So it still has a little bit of imperfections. It needs more work, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'll weld that hole. I'll fix this edge here. At the same time, start welding these holes up. So, and then I can, this is gonna get distorted a little bit welding these holes. Same thing with this, I can hit it with a shrinking disc, I can hammer and dolly it, I can shrink it back down, I can stretch it out with the hammer and dolly. So probably just keep working it back and forth between this area and that area. So let's do that. Let me clean all these holes out now. All right, it's getting there. I've been doing a lot of hammering and dollying using the slapper. On a surface like this, it's such a flat panel. The slapper is really the only way to make this a flat surface again, a smooth surface. It's got such a large footprint where I can just contact a lot of area at once. If I were just using this hammer, a small footprint, there's no way I can get this smooth. It's gonna leave hammer marks. It's not gonna work as well as this slapper. You can just see the difference. So that's what I'm using for this area. If you're getting it kind of closer, you can see there's still some lows, but what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start hitting it with the shrinking disc. I'm gonna color in the Sharpie. That's gonna allow two things. It's going to kind of be a lubricant for the shrinking disc, and then also it's going to point out any of these low spots. So I'm just going to color all this in and then start hitting this with a shrinking disc and do several rounds of that, also with hammering and dollying. Let's do that now. So this is Ray Shalene's method I learned in his class. Also using the slapper and the shrinking disc is really, at this point, the only way to get this smooth out and kind of ironed out, I guess you could say. I welded that hole, I did that off camera. So I welded that hole up and smoothed that out. Same process as all these other holes. And if you can remember if you've seen the previous episode, this was just packed with Bondo, probably a ½ an inch thick. So, I mean, you could see how caved in this was and just what a mess. So we'll see what happens after I hit this with the disc. I'm gonna do a couple of rounds of that and then I'll show you the results. Okay, so I welded all the holes. That's finished. I took the crease out of here, fixed this flange. That's as far as I'm going to go in this episode. Next episode, I'll fix this broken weld and this missing piece here, weld these holes, and cut this rust out and make a new patch panel for that. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.